All right, folks. So we're just gonna jump right in. We're talking today's about farming end to end. We handle everything for you. We will talk strategy. Really lead focus today, and that's what we're going to be doing. So let's go. So today, what are we talking about? Again, that strategy, the easy button, how to follow up with leads, AI, how to take action. That's our plan for you. By the way, I know we're going to have people jumping in over the next few minutes, but we are going to go for it. This will be recorded and you will receive a copy in your inbox later on today. So you'll be able to review it later or share it if you'd like. So there you go. Let's go for it. Well, first, let's talk about, if you'd like, let's talk about Elite. So Elite's been around for some time, although we continue to iterate and improve it. Again, this is what we do call our easy button. The idea is that we really create a full end-to-end plan for you, use QR codes, technology, all that good stuff, and including now we integrate AI. Well, going back and Chia, we've always talked about this where back in the day, nothing. I literally did cut and paste on postcards where we would show away what's happening in the marketplace, and nothing wrong with this, but I always say, right, Chio, that you kind of get what you're paying for, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is kind of like, and nothing wrong with these, right? Nothing wrong with this, but at the end of the day, what can we do? And I think to yourself and your team, I know when it comes to branding, maybe you can even talk a little bit about this, but it's really about bringing the person forward, right? About making them the star. And part of what Elite does is on branding, and we call this the shell, right? Where we really remove the background and we really take and we want to make sure that that the professional is the kind of the star of the show, right? And they receive most of the you know of the what do you call it, the
Well, a
square
good
footage,
portion.
right?
Yeah, a
The
good portion
proportion
that's
of
based on a postcard, right? We definitely want to emphasize that a lot and build that brand. It's all about brand influence here, right? Uh,
yeah, absolutely, right, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and then just tying it back to the community. A lot of people, I think, what they want to do is visually show that they're part of the community, and by adding a background and changing a background, kind of shows you where you kind of work,
Right.
where you specialize in, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of backgrounds. Kind of reminds me of Grand Junction, where my wife's family's from, and electrification there. But I know there's a lot of interior shots, which are really popular now, right, Chio?
Yeah,
Um,
interior shots seem really popular, especially if townhomes and condos in particular, right? If you're marketing an area like that, maybe the exterior doesn't look that great, but the interior has great upgrades. So why not show it
right.
a little bit, right?
And how often do I have a question actually? How often do people want to bring their own interior shots or their own HOA or something? How often does that happen?
Um, it happens probably, I would say probably 30% of the time, at least, right?
Okay.
So we try to push it a lot more. Sometimes people are going out there and taking pictures themselves. Sometimes they use stock photography. It's really just kind of up to them. But there's certain styles that is in particular areas, and that's what we're trying to tie it back to, right?
Got it. So like if I'm working like the Glen community, I could actually have a nice Garden Glen community shot and actually
Yeah,
you could like
yeah,
zhuzh it, make it nice, right?
yep.
Okay, that's cool. I like it. Very cool. And then of course you got now. So we talking about the data. This is a bit different, right? Too. It's the variable data, right? So it pulls by the property, which is kind of nice. So I was thinking about that. What happens when you have like homes that are like very different from each other that are kind of next to each other in the data? What tends to happen here?
It's probably going to probably throw people off when it comes
Yeah.
to just not having something personalized like a report. I think a lot of people will make an assumption that these homes that sold, I mean, you're trying to give an idea of what the homes are selling for that matches that home's characteristics, right? So
Right.
if it's all over the board, it's like you spend all this time putting together all these comps, and does these comps actually really matter at the end of the day, right?
Right.
So if it doesn't match someone's home, let's say like this one here is 4.3, something like that, then it doesn't give you an idea of what the trends are, what the home value, what homes are selling for, and things like that, right? So definitely want to have a more precise set of comps. That way people could really understand what their home could sell for in today's market, right?
System automates it. I think I'd like to share just as we move through
Yeah.
this. Like our system automates it, but also pick an area that's homogeneous. So like a lot of the homes are similar to each other. So if you have like a 2-1 next to like a 6-4 next to a, if they're all over the board and it's hard to pull real comps in our system, if it's automated, it's gonna have a real hard time actually showing that to people. So just something to share. All kinds of content, right? We have, and we put together the plan for people, right? There's like literally hundreds of billboards, but I know one of our most popular one is the home valuation, right? And this is something I know we're going to talk about, but I think everything here is about engagement, right? You think about Corefact, the business, right? Corefact, the matter. It's about data. The things we have here on these postcards, it's about trying to right connect the homeowner to the agent, right? Trying to get them to scan or engage, right?
Yeah, I really like this card. It's probably our most responsive card, and I think a lot of you guys have probably seen this already. But I love the bird's eye view of the activity around the neighborhood right off
Yeah,
the bat. I think a lot of people kind of look at that and go, "Hey, I kind of live in that area." So you're probably getting a few more seconds just to look at the card. So the other thing too is just it's probably one of the strongest CTAs that are out there, right? And when it comes
mm,
to if you're thinking about selling, find out what it's worth first, right? So getting that second opinion about maybe getting that value instead of getting it from Zillow, and organically doing it with your marketing. That's a good strategy to just build that top of funnel lead, and giving them
right.
something right off the bat that's of value, right?
Yeah, I know they were just in the news. They just made a profit, $150 million. Well, that's nice. And they're of course selling leads to all types of agent, right? They're selling the same lead to let's say yourself and 8 others. But in this case,
Yeah,
right, Gio, the lead that's generated belongs to the
the
person,
agent.
right? The
Yeah,
agent. It
yeah.
doesn't belong to anybody else. It doesn't belong to Zillow. It belongs to
Does,
them, which is really
doesn't get
nice.
resold, right?
Yeah, it's theirs. I agree. It's theirs. So, which just proves the point. Where if anybody wants to, you can go and scan this QR code now if you so choose. And maybe I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot here. If I can go around my phone's trying to like give me updates, but I go ahead and do it. If you actually scan it, it will actually load for you. And when it loads up, it will ask you it will prompt to confirm the information about the beds and baths. So once it does that, it will pull and it will be you can actually pull the map and it's variable and it also pulls and um, it will actually show a range of the property and then there will also be a prompt that will go ahead and pop up here and that prompt is going to go ahead and again it's a prompt to say help finding what you need. Again, this is to do what? To connect you to the customer. And once this engagement is done, it will give a prompt to your email and your phone, right? There'll be like a text to you saying, hey, that the homeowner engaged with you, right? And how powerful is that?
Yeah.
To me, it's powerful. It makes sense. And hopefully everyone here gets it. Like, okay, I choose a farm, right? Corefact, we help the strategy. People will scan right every month when the cards go out. I kind of will know if I've so many days after they go out, my phone will give prompts and things that okay, homeowners are engaging. And I want to make very clear to you too. Some will say, well, I really need the phone number or something. It's your choice. You can choose to require them to put the phone number in. But however, I think we would agree, Cheo, that the more you ask of the customer, what happens to your response rate?
Yeah, it'll probably dip, right? Right. And
Yeah, so
also,
be careful. The
yeah.
1%, right? Our double national average probably will not be double the national average if you're requiring like the phone numbers and those things. Just as a statement that we know.
Yeah, and this thing here too is just if you sent out postcards before in the past, and the call to action is give me a call, or hey, if you know someone that's looking to buy or sell, give me a call. Those are static postcards. Response rates on those are 0.47%. So for
Yeah,
every 100 postcards you send out, you'll be lucky to get a phone call. And it's probably the
right.
most discouraging thing for a lot of realtors, I think, when they have a farming strategy is the fact that you invest $800 on this mailing and you don't even get a phone call. And so having the technology on this, having that transparency, at that moment, seeing that your marketing is actually working, that is such a confidence builder into implementing this type of stuff on your campaign. So obviously you go to other printers and get regular standard stuff, but use the tracking stuff as much as possible, right?
Right. User tracking. So this, by the way, is just kind of samples, and I would even argue that I would probably go more engagement specific, but just gives a feel for if when you meet with us, you're going to end up with not, you end up with more of a strategy, right? So you'll have a feel for what you're going to plan for the next 12 months out, right?
Yeah, 12 months out. This is the good thing about just having a plan, right? At the end of the day, I think a lot of people are looking for a plan. And so it's great that we build out the whole entire campaign. You see what's going out. You're not really thinking about what's the next card, what's the next content, what's the next message that you're going to send out. And then overall, you see the whole strategy behind it. And part of it is just building that brand, right? So what's the biggest thing you might notice on this campaign here is the agent, right? And the second thing is just sequencing out these cards to basically get you the best responses or best highest possibility of getting responses. So uh,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And I saw a comment come from Tia. Yeah, on data. So yeah, so a couple things about response rates. So yeah, so the USPS gives us some information on response rates. Typically, it's sub, 1.5, sub 1/2%, so 0.47% get some sort of an engagement of some sort, a response. Because we use, QR, and there's different ways to engage with you and to, there's all sorts of engagement, and we'll talk about what leads mean, and between there's all sorts of things, right? By the way, a lead is not, hey, come list my house today, right? That's a listing. There's also like, come by for a listing presentation, right? There's phone calls, there's scanning and engagements and things that you can do to turn those into listings. There's certain types of what do we call, engagements versus responses, right? There's certain things that we have to look at over time. And there's also, by the way, response rates saying, you know, we see ranges that are really wide. Sometimes we'll see 3.5 to 5.5% on certain areas or certain cards that will get over certain months. But we have to average everything out, right? So that's why
yeah,
we share 1% on average. So typically, on average, it's about double what the national average is, and you'll see wide ranges and those types of things. Thomas asks, is the QR code using AI? We will talk. We do have AI with QR with AI, which we'll talk about. So yes, we do have that option if you want it. So yeah, so hopefully that's going to answer the questions, and we'll go into more detail. But I think the best thing we can share, that I think Chio and I both agree, is you want the better response rate you'll have, and we all
mm,
agree, consistency.
yep,
More
yep,
consistent you'll have. By the way, this is 12 months. You're not 12 and done. This is
yeah,
a evergreen program. So if you have elite, it will continue, and most elite members are on year 3 or 4 or whatever. And we've been running this probably
yeah,
close to almost 10 years now. So this is
yeah,
not like a 12-month done. 12-month
yeah.
will be, the first year will be your lowest response year, right? Because right, farming, you only get stronger over time.
Yeah, yeah, you should. Yeah, I mean, Todd, you probably know this.
Yeah.
How many times have agents? I think it's like taking that first step, and then it compounds over time, and it gets easier over time. And we've seen that. I think with all the campaigns, right now, I think a lot of people aren't getting that traction is because they just don't have a reputation in that area. That hey, I'm an agent here, and I help sell and buy homes, and without that reputation, it's harder to sell. And so you need to build that, and you do that through consistent farming, right? So, and also a lot of these cards too is just a sequence in a certain way, right? We have market update cards, home estimate cards, seller tip cards, things like that where we create
I'm gonna
value.
ask. I'm
Yeah,
asking a question, everybody. Sorry, don't mean to cut you off. But I'm asking a question, everybody. This is gonna tell us a lot, right? People who are here today and ask a poll: are you farming today or geo farming? Are you farming today? Are you farming consistently? Occasionally, what are you doing? And invariably, all the people. And by the way, if you're here, you're already raising your hand, saying you're one of the most active people in the market, right, Gio? Like
yep,
the people that are on this call today are saying, "Hey, I'm one of the most active people in real estate today."
yep,
And typically what we see is a inconsistent marketing strategy. When you say Chio on average, it's typically what we see.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Super inconsistent.
yeah,
A lot of this stuff depends on also like, what Todd mentioned earlier was all these variables that when people talk about response rates, how competitive is it? Did you audit your farm list? What's the turnover rates, right?
yeah.
What is your frequency of when you're sending this stuff out? Like we're looking at the poll here, and some people occasionally send out these
There
postcards,
you go. So I'm gonna
right?
share it right now. So there you go. I mean
Yeah,
that's, and by the way, it's not, it's just the norm. So just to say, so there is
yeah,
no shame in that. By the way, you're here probably trying to say, hey, my results haven't been what I really wanted them to be. Why? Right?
Right.
What's going on to say, you know what, I want to feel like my ROI is, and probably you're like, I don't want to feel like I keep spending money on something I don't get a response for. So I don't want to invest in something, right? That's a bad return. So wisely, they're choosing not to, right, to do something. But
Yeah.
we're saying you should do our thing, right? That's what I would say. So
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I was just talking to an agent. They're sending out their postcards, the farming stuff, right?
yeah,
Doing it once a month. He is he decided to walk his farm because he got a listing from the farm from the farming strategy, and walked the neighborhood and literally like 2 blocks away ended up talking to a homeowner, and the first thing the homeowner said was like, yeah, I'm thinking about buying. Maybe you can help me with that. And he goes, oh yeah, I work this area. And he says, hey, I just got that listing down the block, whatever the case was. And the first thing the homeowner said was, yeah, I recognize you because I receive your cards every single month. Right. I mean, how much of an impact is that? I mean, a lot
yeah,
of people, they'll say something like, hey, my cards aren't working. You have to think about brand influence at that point. Like this is something you can't track. Right. So, but the fact that people are noticing you and then applying and saying, hey, this person sells homes and they're successful at what they're doing, this is what we're talking about when it comes to creating a reputation to sell, right? So and a lot of this
so
is just
took.
consistency, right? So
Yeah, and it also took, like you just made a point though. It's also like the person also did an additional activity. So it's like,
yeah,
and they're there, right? And they're doing something. That's like, oh yeah, because it's an additive thing that's happening as
right.
well, right? I think we could agree to. So I think it makes sense. So here's another. I love this, the Misabis, because they've worked in, and there's something really too about a lot of now between, we've Chio and I have been doing this for a long time, where there's a lot of you have your own brands or branding, or you work in your national brands. Before it was so tight, like you'd only use national branding. It was all about the red team or the gold jacket team or whatever, and now it's very much so about yourselves or your own or literal team that has its own branding that may change. So we're able to work with that and or make it seamless if you're. And what we find is actually interesting where, by the way, there maybe some here where you're saying, you know what, actually, I want to change my team. So if that's one of you, by the way, today, let us know, let Chio or I know. We will help you to change your team, and we can make that seamless, and we can get you going. Maybe that's why you're here, part of why you're here. Maybe you want to get a notice out to say, hey, I'm updating my brand from the whatever to the whatever. We can make sure to do that. But again, this is all designed to be able to make that as seamless as possible, so that you won't like lose a step. Yeah. So again, designs, things, just may have your mind think about the things we work with on the backs. People always, I kind of threw this in. What goes on the back? Well, a lot of times, even if it's on the front, that the home value may be on the back because people may not even flip the card over. So again, the idea that your branding's on both sides, it's there. If you're in a non-disclosure state, we can recognize that because we do print. We have 2 print facilities. We print nationally, not a problem. Okay, we're able to go ahead and do that. So a little bit about the portal side of things as well. So when you are an elite member, you can see you have your own dashboard to look at your own campaigns, where they're at, what's going on, your own data. You're able to see, over time, as well, response rates, and also an email will go out what's going out in 10 days. If you don't like it, you can swap it. So you do have control. So back in your dashboard, you can change up if you want to switch something out. Let's say interest rates continue to drop or something really big is happening. You can choose to switch out your. I'm a person where my wife asked me to get my brother-in-law a present, and I forgot. I forgot within the first 30 seconds. I'm like, I'm a human. I forgot. Right? I'm not going to remember what I chose. In July. Right? I need to be told again. Okay, hey, this is what's going out. So these are here. It's great. It comes in your inbox. You're gonna get a prompt what's going out. If you don't like something or it doesn't resonate with you anymore, you can hit the button and swap it. Or you can also talk to one of our people. Our elite ops team member. You can talk with us. And we can go ahead and make that swap for you. So a little bit about our kind of easy button campaign. Anything else to add, Chio? Late.
Yeah, no, I think it's if you want to be hands off and you want to automate it, right? And just have confidence that hey, you have a plan going in. Yeah, I think that elite campaign is probably a good solution if that's what you're looking for today. So
Great. Well, now I'm going to ask the easiest question. If you were to have the option to have free follow-up postcards, meaning 100% free to you, doesn't cost you anything to anybody that were to engage with your campaign, would you want those or not for people to ask? And I'll leave this open very, very briefly, but get the participants going here. Let's see. They're coming in hot and heavy. Chia. I've never had anybody say no yet. Hopefully not.
If someone
Sometimes
says
there's,
no,
well, it's
we're all
funny.
businessmen.
We have had a couple that people have been like, I want to control that. I don't know. I want to make sure they go. I'm like, okay. All right. Once I hit a bunch, I just end the poll. All right. So y'all say yes, you like free stuff. I don't blame you. All right. We like free stuff. Very good. All right. So this is what's crazy to me. National Association of Realtors say this. This comes from open house data as well as other data. Always blows our minds, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's probably higher than this, but what was it? A
Well,
67% of leads never
our
get
data is
followed up,
higher. Our data
right?
is 80, like 80, 85% or something.
Yeah,
Doesn't get,
yeah.
you can see
Doesn't
it.
Yeah, I think a lot of times that people lack the system. And a lot of times what you're trying to do is buy into a system. And leads, once you have, there's different forms of leads. Obviously, we're prospecting here, and
Yeah.
when we get leads, we're basically trying to nurture those leads. But if you're never
Yeah.
following up, you're never moving them along, progressing them along that funnel, right? So whether
Right.
they're a prospect to a lead to a warmer lead to actually to conversion,
Well,
those need to be nurtured, right?
so now, yeah. So since we rolled this out, we're now into the thousands of free postcards because we just rolled this out recently. But we decided to because we see it and it breaks our hearts. And what happens is again and there's a disconnect. So people come to Chio and I and to our customer service team, experience team, and say, I don't have any leads. And we go into, I'm going to share briefly where it is. Everybody here should have a free account on Corefact.com. If you don't, go to Corefact.com and go there. If you work with a wonderful title partner, of which I know there's at least a few of you on this call because you're so wonderful, you're always here. Ask them; they will help you too. But go there, create one. When you have, make sure you have an account. Make sure you know where your contacts are. They're yours. You control them, not a paid service or so. But the fact is, though, that an engagement with you, a lead is not, hi, list my house today. And that's the thing you have to understand. And it's not a listing. A lead is not a listing. So a lot of times what I'm hearing is, I don't have listings. It's like, yeah, okay. What does it take to get that person to say list with me? And just like Chio's story. Oh yeah, I get your stuff all the time. Yeah, but the person didn't just call that person today. It just happened to be that that person's also active doing something that connects with the person that then right builds on what they've just done that will then likely lead to a listing, right? So what's that additional thing or things you're going to do? So we decided to do very simply, we have a postcard. Is one Chio's wonderful team created a very very straightforward postcard. That first engagement that happens. So we want to take that first step for you. So it's like we're going hand in hand with you. We're taking that first step with you. Anybody that scans, that engages, whatever that is, we will send for free as part of the program of Elite. We will send that first piece out so that when I will show you where you will go, look at your contacts, you will see a date that will say that you followed up with every one of your leads. Now, step 2 and 3 today is not part of the program, although I'm probably, I'm probably working on that too. I just think it's so important and give options for everybody. But we want to at least at a minimum make sure that that first engagement. Now you're saying, what's the second, third, fourth? No, you can send the second and third one out. But for us, we want to make sure to say, can we get it close to 100% as possible? And why? Because we do think your odds of getting listings goes up or way up, and you'll do more business with us and everything, it works together, right? Because we're in business with you to get leads. We're not in the business, we're not here just to sell print. We're in business for you to get leads. And that's how the business started with us 20 years ago. That's why we're here. Will you get a notify? Do we get a notify when you do a automatic follow up? Thomas asked. Yeah, so it does a notify. It has a prompt that's set up that will basically show, and it's also in the dashboard as well, right, Chio?
Yep.
I thought
Yeah.
you've seen it all. But it's all there.
Yeah, for
Uh,
every notification you'll get,
yeah,
someone scanning a QR code, you'll get a notification. From there, we automatically send them that
yeah,
postcard, that
and
follow-up
and
postcard.
so
Yeah.
so here, this is a little preempt video I did. So if you go to your contacts, you can see your lists, you can then see, and you can see it says last followed up. You can actually see there's a column there next to manage that will have dates in them instead of it being a blank, which most people have, because you can export your data. If you want to send follow-up cards, you can send them from our system too. Where I'll tell you, for the cost of even less than going to the store and buying one, you can actually have ours custom made, and it will send for you to the customer. So you have different options there as well if you want to send a note card or a pop-up card as well. So you have different options here, which are available to you. It's pretty powerful. So that's our lead follow-up. Hopefully that impresses you all. So not only is it easy button, it also follows up with leads for you. And this I will hand off to Chia. You, as far as the AI guru, we were asked, I think Thomas asked about, is there AI? Yes, I coined it Elite AI because it's the easiest, but we can absolutely, for a very nominal fee of what, 29 a month, you can have AI and have an AI assistant on your Elite postcards if you so desire.
Yeah, and definitely if you sign up for it, implement it onto your campaigns, things like that. I believe the first 14 days is complimentary, and
Yeah,
you could cancel anytime. But the people that are taking advantage of it, they're seeing some good engagement and some good conversation. The way it kind of works is, we have this colorful kind of QR code. It mentions that this is an AI. That way, visually, people look at it and say, "Hey, this is not just a regular QR code that they traditionally would see."
right.
Similar to kind of like what you experience when you scan a QR code and basically go to a static landing page that gives you home valuation. This experience is a little bit different. You scan it, and then you basically have a landing page that kind of has this orb, and it's this AI experience, right? And really, it's about having a deeper, more meaningful conversation with that prospect. So imagine sending out like a postcard and talking about the maybe the listing, and then having the AI basically promote that listing for you, and then being able to maybe collect information like emails, maybe your contact information, things like that, and then pass that over. So here's a kind of like a demo of what that conversation could kind of look like.
So for when it comes to campaigns, what it is we kind of prompt it with your own bio, and it's more about you, or maybe more about some general area information. This example just happens to be about more about like a listing itself. And so typically what it does is it just, again, it will answer whatever the prompt or prompts are, and then it's designed to really kind of prompt and have them engage with a conversation with you really at the end, right? That's kind of what our kind of goal is with the thing. So let me with no further ado, I'll go ahead and kick this thing off.
Hi, I'm Emma, the
There you
AI
go.
assistant for Jessica Sellers. We just listed a beautiful home at 1173 Monte de los Way in Henderson. Ask me anything about the price, features, or neighborhood.
Great. Can you tell me more about the home?
Absolutely. The home at 1173 Monte de Luz Way is a luxury single-family residence with approximately 3,934 square feet of living space on a lot of about 6,900 square feet. It features around 5 bedrooms and 4.5 to 5 bathrooms, depending on the source. Built in 2018, it showcases modern architecture designed by Blue Heron in a gated community. Some highlights include an open-concept main level with strong indoor-outdoor connections, a main-level junior suite, and a spacious upper-level loft with a wet bar. The outdoor area is resort-style, featuring a pool, spa, and multiple view decks. It's equipped with smart home technology and a solar system for energy efficiency. Would you like to know more about any specific features?
Does this home have any HOA dues?
Yes, the home at 1173 Monte de Luz Way has HOA dues of $250. If you have any other questions about the property or the neighborhood, feel free to ask.
I do a lot of travel for work. How close is this house to the airport?
The home at 1173 Monte de Luz Way is conveniently located near the Las Vegas metropolitan area, which includes the McCarran International Airport. It's approximately a 20 to 30-minute drive depending on traffic. This makes it quite accessible for travel. If you have more questions or need assistance with anything else.
I think it does a pretty good job, and at the end, doesn't it? And it also
Yeah, it
also
collects yeah, it
prompt,
collects
right?
the information, and you get to see a transcript of it. So, and then
Right.
also a smart summary of the conversation. So it's able to navigate the conversation. That's the thing that I think is beautiful about it too. But this thing can be used in a lot of different types of print application. If it's for open house, could promote the event, maybe talk about the event,
Right.
things like that. For just sold, you can use it for just sold. It highlights the sale, talks about your marketing plan, how effective your marketing plan is to get that home sold. Highlight the sale. Did it sell for over asking price? Did it sell with multiple offers? How fast did it take to sell it? Right. So it's always constantly promoting you. And also, if you ask it like a question, you said something like, "Hey, I've never heard of Jessica Sellers. Is she a good agent?" Right? Something like that. It will always put you in good light, meaning that every time when it responds, it'll say something very positive about you, your services, your brand, and things like that. But this could be used on everything from even property brochures where, we have some agents putting the AI on there and, every home has a story. Ask my AI about it. But think about going to open house and maybe you're tied up with a family. There's multiple families coming in. Just say, hey, grab one of my brochures. If you have any questions in the meantime, you can ask my AI. And we've seen this happen where families walk in, they go into the kitchen, the agent's not there. They scan the QR code on that property brochure and they ask a question like, hey, is this kitchen countertop? Is this a quartz or a marble countertop? And the AI is able to answer it, right? So it does all these things for you. It's like your assistant, even at the open house. So you can use it in a lot of different ways, right? So door hangers as well. Door hangers before seemed very boring. Now they got a lot more exciting with AI built in there as well. You also can use this on your business cards. A lot of times I think we're looking at business cards just a way of passing contact information. And we all know that every time we're reaching out to someone, we're basically researching them first. Why not ask the AI about your experience and how amazing you are, whatever the case is, and have that type of engagement from just your business cards. Same thing with signs. Signs, I think, is another thing. A lot of you guys who are using sign writers, maybe yard signs, A-frames, things like that. You guys have a QR code on there. Sometimes it's a static QR code, and maybe the price changes, maybe the URL changes for the website, whatever the case is, right? Well, in this case, you don't need to reprint the sign writer with that QR code. You can use the same sign writer and just update the AI knowledge base. So let's say, for example, you sell this home at 123 Main Street and using this sign writer here. Right. Well, guess what? Now you can use that same sign writer, move it to your next listing, change the AI's knowledge base to another property that you're promoting, and then you have way more longevity with that particular sign writer. So, there's a lot of things that you could do with the AI here. Obviously, these are all print applications. There's also digital use cases as well. You could put the AI on your email signature, maybe parts of your website and things like that as well.
So today, what can you do today, folks? So a couple options. So I want to go through it. So this is, make sure it's very clear. So this is what I call package A. And so this is for people that are, I think committed to say, you know what, I want to, again, want to make a solid commitment this year and an upfront commitment. And if you make an upfront commitment to say, you know what, and again, I'm a round numbers guy, this makes sense, 1,000 homes a month. It's roughly what it comes with the spend is roughly about $850 a month is what it kind of would break out to. But if you wish to really make that commitment up front via what we call purchase points, you end up getting about, you do get $1,000 in purchase points up front, basically extra spend, right? So think about it like 10% of additional spend upfront, and we also waive the launch fee for Elite, which is a $500 value. So really, you are able to, get $1,500 of value upfront to be able to go ahead and do that. So, but what do you get for that? You get not only the impressions, right, the 1,000 a month impressions, but you also get where the United States Postal Service does via email. They go ahead and they have a program. It's a form delivery, an informed delivery, or ID, where it will send an email. You can actually it shows the image of what what's coming in your inbox, right, and your mailbox today. And roughly half of all customers have in most areas have that now. If you don't have informed delivery, go to USPS.gov and sign up. It's amazing. We work with USPS.gov to upload the real digital images, full color. That brings us to the top. It's not otherwise they black and white scan it. Looks not great. We have a full black and white scan as well as call it a writer, or it's a clickable that can actually goes to the estimate, and we actually have a capturable. So again, so half of all homes before it even hits the mailbox, will actually get it in their inbox, which is amazing. And what's our goal for you? This is very important. We want to have at least, 6% of those homes. So let's go ahead and call, we want to have at least 6% of those 1,000 homes really uniquely engage with you, within a 12-month period, if not more. And again, we want, of those 6%, we want, probably roughly half of those to engage with you multiple times, right? And that's our goal. We'd love to, as a business goal, to get a listing for you on the board, although we can't promise it. And as we've discussed already, right, better results are going to be your second year versus your first, your third year versus your second over time, right? So those are sort of how the numbers work. We have next week, I have a more of a breakdown, if you want, like how do you choose a farm area, which is very important, because Chio and I will say, if you're going to have a farm area and there's no turnover in that area, you can't sell what's not listing.
Yeah.
Can't sell what's not listing. Okay.
Need more activity. Yeah.
Need more activity. So perhaps you're like, hey, Todd, it's a bit too rich for me, but I want to make a commitment. Go ahead. Instead of package A, do package B. 5,000 in purchase points today. You'll get 250 in spend, and we'll still go ahead and waive the setup fee of $499. That's package A or B. Now, if either one of these two don't work, you're like, you know what? Can I just do the month to month? You can absolutely go ahead and do the month to month. Not a problem. We do it all the time. All the time we go ahead and do it. You can pay $499. What you get is, we will put you in the queue. We will go ahead and collect your assets. That's your headshot. We will work with you to get your list together. We'll have that creative process. And again, our goal is 2 weeks or less to go ahead and get your campaign going on a month-to-month basis, right, with you. And again, we will work with you on the budget. We'll make sure that it makes sense to you. We'll go ahead and do that. I would share what we will also do is we can there's a code for you, $100 off, right? We can go ahead and work with you. $100 off if you wish to sign up today. So go to corefact.com, go to the campaigns button. You will see Elite. Go ahead and choose Elite, which is on the right. Go ahead and go to the Elite page, sign up today, and we can go ahead and get you going. If you think 500 is a bit too rich for you in terms of budget, or you're like, you know what, I need to focus more on turnover, Todd, I need more strategy. We have a wonderful self-service tool. We can work with you there as well, and we can go ahead and make that happen for you as well. So that would be something to me that I would recommend. So if you could, as a favor to me, maybe let me know what kind of you're thinking right now. Maybe what would work for you best. That would be great.
Yeah, see what fits you guys. I think a lot of this stuff, right? We also want to make sure that because we see a lot of data, obviously I think we want to be fully transparent too, right? A lot of times you're looking at turnover rate 5%. If you're mailing 200, you're probably competing for like one or two opportunities, really. So that also just working with a lot of agents who are really successful at what they're doing. I'd argue probably 95% of the agents we work with has some form of farming strategy. And I know that a lot of people sometimes also who are doing a lot of social, likes don't equal deals. And if this is like any other business, right, you need a headquarters. And if you're going to market a area, think of it as kind of like your headquarters, and I'm going to invest in my headquarters, and I'm going to build my brand influence there. And this thing compounds over time. It gets easier over time. But when your referrals runs dry, like on social, where do you go? Right.
Yeah.
If the people that you market to and you say, hey, I focus in this particular area, and they don't know that you actually sell or buy homes, then do you really have a brand? And so those are the things that I think farming really, goes after, right? I mean, literally, this is your investment. So, yeah. So if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. But if you decide to do it with us. I mean, we have technology, printing's not dead. It's only getting better. There's more improvement to it. And
I think it's more just because of just the white noise of everything that's online. I think we found it with ads and everything else. It's increasing competitiveness. It's actually come back.
Email fatigue, social media fatigue. I mean,
it looks like we had a question come in. Looks like Jeffrey Helty has a question here. It says, I am currently doing geofarming, though somewhat inconsistently. What is the optimal response strategy as leads are generated to convert leads into prospective listings? There's a few things going on in there. So I want to break this out into pieces. My first thought would be the first part is for currently farming, although somewhat inconsistently, I think we probably would say first adjust that to make that inconsistently probably more consistently and consider what that means, even if it's not every month. Is it every quarter? Are you also like doing events? Are you doing, we have a strategy like next week we'll talk but more about like, is it like spring cleaning, like dumpster events or somehow to get the community to come out? Are you doing community additive events or something that would help, or some of those things that you would do? And then the other question is, what's the optimal response strategy as leads are generated to convert leads into prospective listings, leads to listings, Chio?
Yeah, obviously we're going to follow up for you with every one of those QR code scans if you're on that elite program. Generally, anytime when I'm thinking about someone that takes engagement, scans that QR code, they've already taken action. They've already shown interest, right? So
Uh,
how do you kind of move them along the pipeline a little bit? And one of the things that I try to do is probably also send like a nice note card, handwritten note card or a pop-up
yeah,
card, really elevating that
I would.
relationship a little bit, forcing them to open up a piece, identifying the fact that maybe they got a free home valuation, but also ask for a face-to-face meeting. I mean, one of our most effective cards to send out when someone scans a QR code is the "Let's meet for coffee" postcard, and really it's about getting that face-to-face meeting. But I love the language that's on there too. Sometimes we've got to be more aggressive. You can't be passive the moment that someone takes action and scans a QR code, right? So, for example, it could say something like this on that coffee card. It might say something like, "Hey, thanks for checking on your home estimate. Obviously, this is a computer generated estimate. It doesn't take into account upgrades that might affect the value of your home. But I'd love to meet with you over coffee and show you my marketing plan that's been netting my sellers great results in this challenging market," right? Ask for the face-to-face meeting. I think a lot of agents, they continue to be passive and continue to nurture that relationship, knowing that that person took interest in it. Really, we should be elevating that a little bit, right? So, um, but yeah, maybe that works pretty well.
Good thought. I like the idea. So I kind of tie into the community. Like I live in like Basking Ridge. So to me, I would share. I love that it's handwritten as well. I probably would say, hey, thanks for engaging with thanks for engaging with my site and in the Basking Ridge community. If I would tie myself into the community as being community additive, and just reaching out like that, including a business card, something like that, or even to share, to go ahead and say that. And if you, kind of make a note where if you, the next time you do door knock or you say hello or whatever, you just happen to know, kind of make a note of who's engaged with you or not. Uh, that kind of works as well, I would think. But the handwritten, people don't really do the handwrittens anymore. So the handwrittens are nice if you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
It says looks
Jeff.
like
Yeah.
every quarter. Currently, I send handwritten note card with a Starbucks card included. That's amazing. Become their neighborhood resource. Yeah, hard to beat that. I think that really works. I really like that. I mean, I think you're really taking that to the next level. I would also say probably I call it like you're like I would make like a leads of influence. I probably would make a leads of influence campaign where I would put them on a monthly campaign mailer or something, or campaign in the self campaign tool. I would do that as well.
Yeah,
Whoever those are over time. So if you're building up 10, 20, 30, 40 of them every month or whatever, some sort of personalized message, I would probably put them on their own campaign.
yeah, I think
That's
those are.
probably what I would do.
Yeah,
Yeah, as well.
it's a really good idea. Jeffrey, you're probably
Yeah,
doing a really good job of that.
you
I
are.
would
Yeah.
also mention that a lot of times if you're using the Corefact card too, you'll notice that maybe some addresses or contacts have scanned multiple times. So what I mean by that is, that same contact might have scanned this month, that next month they'll scan again. And we tell you that, hey, this is a returning, prospect. So anytime when you get multiple scans as well, I generally tell a lot of people when they see multiple scans from the same address, I think that you got to move that into another bucket. And so, we have some agents where they might just drop off like a agent brochure, maybe a 9 by 12 envelope with the letter that introduces them a little bit more. And then maybe also showing examples of like some of the marketing stuff they've done. A lot of this stuff too, just to give you a heads up, and we always talk about this all the time, is, it's on their time, right? So you want to make sure that, you're continually nurturing those relationships and just, moving them along. But if you see multiple scans on there, like I probably would, drop off something or send them like a bigger package that really promotes their services a little bit, so.
Yeah. Cool. Like it. Yeah, so I think Jeffrey on right path. And here's the thing too, is I would say do what works for you. It's not just about we put together because it scales. It really scales and a lot of people like the easy button, and the monthly cadence really makes the most sense for getting the best result. But if people want to send once a month and then walk their farm once a month and then do something else once a month or do these things on their own cadence and blend it up and go for it, you can make your own. And we do see that to a degree. I'd probably say 1 out of 10 kind of do some sort of a blend like that. Whereas like 9 out of 10 just kind of use the program as defined.
Yeah,
Any other questions? Any other questions out there?
yeah, I was just gonna throw this out there for you, Todd.
Yeah.
But right now, what do you see a lot of people doing right now since we're entering, into more activity in the market? I mean, what do you think some of the frequency kind of looks like these days?
In terms
Like,
of
are you seeing more people doing, more, so there's some agents that are doing like right now, every 3 weeks, every 2 weeks, they're
yeah, more. I
increasing
mean,
that frequency, right?
increasing the frequency. Yeah, for sure. I think we're seeing more and more frequency. And to me, it's yeah, very interesting now. Even the biweekly, like or twice a month, right? It tends to be, or even like this fast starts where they'll do like six, right? They'll do six mailings in 3 months where they'll go bang, 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 bang. And so that seems to be again trying to just like jumpstart getting more results more quickly, I think, and also to take more advantage of the more periodic nature of I think of the listings. I think that the cold weather didn't help. I think at the beginning of the year, but for sure, I think we're seeing some more of that as well, which is kind of interesting too. So. But what's again overall, I know how it is. That can't hurt, but I think over time though, it's just people are ready to sell when they're ready to sell. Some people like I'm gonna die in this house, and then someone gets a great job offer somewhere, right, and they got to move. So it's like 2 weeks later, right, and they're gonna go ahead and make it happen.
Event-driven stuff, right? People pass away, people losing the job, people going through a divorce. It's on their time, right? It's
Well,
sometimes unplanned.
there's talk about if the job market really cools, that actually would really help, the economy, because then people are kind of have to move and start moving around for new jobs, and it makes get them to sell because you still have a lot of people locked into their mortgages. So,
Yeah,
what does it look like? I don't know. We're in this new normal kind of, the home sales are what they are through the end of the year. I think we're kind of are where we are, even though mortgages are more affordable as they are, and Washington's trying to do a few things. At the end of the day, all we can do is do our jobs and be more efficient, be more consistent, have conversations. So all y'all, I would say my parting is like, take your phone every day, have 3 real conversation, go to, do that. At some point, I want to have like, how to double your sphere of influence, right? Like just
yeah,
everybody, get them in a list,
yeah,
whoever they are, have real conversations every day, be as consistent as you can, and
yeah,
just hustle every day.
yeah.
So, all right, sir. Well, I know we got to take off. Thank you everybody for your time.
Yep.
Appreciate you as always. Take care of yourselves and get out there, get out there, get farming. And we look forward to working with you. Take care of yourselves, everybody.